Hi everybody, it's the Soap Man. I've been out of the picture for a few weeks. I'm sorry about that, but I'm back now. If you've been following me, I have been doing a big project, doing about 180 bars of soap. You see them in the background. Most of them just fell over just a few minutes ago. I'll stand them up later. I'm actually almost out of soap, very dangerously low from our regular Saturday projects. I only have enough for tomorrow, so I'm going to be doing some hot process soap because we know that hot process can be used a lot faster. Unfortunately, my digital camera, point and shoot camera, will simply not pause. So I've already made the soap. I've been letting it cool down. I've tried something a little bit different. I have a pretty standard recipe from a soap, a lye calculator that I've used for years. Same one I've always used. And I was just curious how it compared with others. Actually, real truth is, most of you probably never even heard this one, and I'm not even going to mention names right now. It is an actual soap company. They use it to make their own soaps. I've used it for years. I compared it to two other very famous lye calculation companies that I'm sure most of you all know and probably most of you use. And their lye amounts were quite a bit lower than mine. Mine has a standard 5%, and I usually super fat with that. Went ahead and tried a little bit less. I usually used 4.8 ounces of lye. I used 4.6 instead. I usually add some extra fat to it with the colors, but since I didn't color this, I went ahead and poured an ounce of castor oil into it. I normally don't scent my soap, but I'm going to this time because the scents generally stick pretty well in the hot process soap because the lye has already cooked out. So this has been cooling down. I've added the super fat to it. I'm going to put the scent into it, which I don't normally do, but this should stick with it pretty well. I'm going to get it mixed in pretty well. I've been letting it cool because this has a low flash point, and I don't want it to flash off. But it's starting to get a crust on top, so I don't want this to cool down too much. Now what I'm going to do with this, once I get this fragrance mixed in, is I have some soap left over from a project I did for Independence Day. I made a red, white, and blue Independence themed soap, and I had quite a bit left over. I just poured it into a muffin pan, into sort of like a drop swirl. And then I've cut those up into odd-shaped chunks, and I'm going to go ahead and put those odd-shaped chunks into this. And I've done that many times. It makes a really nice-looking soap. This is what they look like. So it's going to give quite a bit extra color to this plain white soap. So we'll go ahead and stir these in, and this is going to cool it down even farther. And I may end up doing 2 batches. I probably should have doubled this batch, but I didn't. But I may go ahead and keep half of this and do another batch tomorrow because I really am very low. Yep, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to end up doing 3 batches of hot process soap. And that will also give me a chance to do a cold process that I'll probably do sometime in the very near future and start to get caught up again. Now this doesn't look like much right now, but I've done this. This actually, when I do hot process, this is generally what I do, is when I have pieces left over from other recipes or ones that didn't turn out like the way I hoped. This is usually what I do, and it makes a nice soap. If you watch the last one I made, the coffee one, looks terrible. The soap looks and smells terrible, but it ends up making a very nice batch of soap. If you watch that one, I was really disappointed because it didn't turn out as dark as I was hoping. Well, it's been curing for about 2 weeks, and take a look at it now. I did 2 different sizes, or 2 different shapes, 2 different molds, and it has turned into that beautiful dark milk chocolate I was hoping to. It was such a pale, ugly, unattractive chocolate. Now it's a really dark milk chocolate with those colors in it. Love it. It looks great, and it actually has a little bit of coffee smell to it. So I've ended up being very pleased with this one after all. Folks, really that's all I have for you on this one. Nothing special because, like I say, I cannot pause my camera, and this is not a business, this is a hobby, so I just can't afford really expensive equipment. I'm going to go ahead and put this into the mold. Let's see, I can actually, oh no I can't, that's hot. Still hot. I'm going to go ahead and get this into the mold and show you the top that I usually do on hot process soap. Because you know, when we do hot process soap, we can't get those nice tops that we can in our cold process soap with the fluid soap. Pounding that down to get some air bubbles out. Plop this in. I normally pull this out when it's really hot and fluid, but I wanted it to cool down so that the fragrance oil didn't flash off, because it had a pretty low flash point. Alright, let's get this in there and get these air bubbles out and get a semi-smooth top, and then I'll show you what I usually do on the top with hot process soap to make it a little bit interesting. And actually, it's a technique, a texture that, to the best of my knowledge, you cannot get with cold process soap. Alright, we're going to get this smoothed down best we can. And be careful doing this with hot process, because it is very hot. I'm doing it quickly. It's still pretty warm. Alright, are you still in the picture? Yes, you are. I will find my thermometer. This is what I use to check my temperatures. And I usually just take this and pick at it. And actually, in the mold, truth is, it really doesn't look like much. But when you go ahead and cut the soap, I'll show you one that looks, when it's finished, it looks pretty nice. Now, where I've let this one cool, I'm not sure if it's not turning out the way it normally does. I'm going to just smack this back down as smooth as I can. It's not going to work this time. I've let it cool down too much because of the fragrance oil. It's not looking right. So we're not going to have a nice top on this one like I normally do. But let me show you what it looks like. Back here to my coffee soap. That very same procedure gives it a really nice looking rugged top. Anyway, folks, that's all I have. I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow, since I should have done a double batch. I'll not record that one since it's the same thing, but once I cut this one, probably in the morning, I'll get it cut, posted as well. So anyway, folks, thanks for watching. I'm going to be doing a cold process that I haven't done for a while. We'll be doing it in the next day or two, so I'll see you then. Thanks. Bye.